Hello everybody. Okay, so this is the next week's edition of Soap Making Questions and Answers by Essential Soap. Okay, so I'm hiding under my Essential Depot hat because Philip came home surprisingly for a few days, and he was spending the night with his dad last night. And so this morning I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drive down to town so I could say bye to him in person before he left. And then I went home and set the alarm on my new phone he got me for my birthday, which is not until later this month. And it didn't wake me up. So I like combed my hair and throw the hat on my head. So don't look at me. No, don't look. Just listen to the information and see if it will be of use to you. Okay, so first little update I wanted to put in there. I put, and I'll put a link if I can to that video. This is the organic cucumber and baby carrot soap, and it is hardening up really well with the percentage of puree that I put in it, because I was thinking, you know, it's part moisture but it's part fibrous material, and we put oats and things in there in the end, so it was okay to add extra, and it seems to be working really well. It's already it's not supposed to be finished cured, but it is just slightly spongy in the center, very hard around the outside, so that looks like that's going to cure up very nicely with the exact recipe that I gave you on the video. And then this is our salt, and this has cucumber and carrot in it, and this is just doing beautifully as well. The amount of puree was no problem. Now you can cut down the puree, as I told you in the video during when I was cutting it, to the exact amount needed, but then keep your water, because you might have to add a little water, a little bit of that puree the water that the vegetables were cooked in, to the soap as it's cooking if you see that it's getting too dry. Okay, so and the smell, let's do a smell test. Oh, this smells very nice. I put peppermint in the salt, and the peppermint is good, okay? I think you could add another half a tablespoon without having issues with skin irritation, and that was 2 tablespoons for a single batch and 4 tablespoons for a double batch. And then for the rosemary and lemongrass, you can smell them, but they're not real strong, like just poke you in the face, oh my god. And but the peppermint smells good. When it was first cut, the lemongrass was overwhelming the rosemary. I'm telling you, that lemongrass. So I think the next time I make it, I will add 25% more essential oil on the rosemary, maybe a touch on the lemongrass, but I think I have it 1 part lemongrass to 2 parts rosemary, but that's going to have to increase to 1 part lemongrass and 3 parts rosemary, and it needs to be a touch stronger. Okay, in the rosemary and lemongrass. You can also add, if you're a fragrance user, you can do the 2 tablespoons peppermint, and then you can add some peppermint fragrance to this and bump up the peppermint without actually causing skin irritation. Alright, and now this is the carrot seed and parsley essential oil was used in this one. The parsley is awesome. It could be a touch stronger and there would be no issue. And the carrot seed, you can smell that carrot seed smell. It smells really nice, but it too could be bumped up a little bit more to be a little bit more, oh my god. Okay, so I would bump it up. I'm going to bump it up like 25% more next time I do it. See how it goes. All right, so we have questions. All right, so that is an answer to somebody's question. Let's see if I got these pages correct. Yes. Okay, here is our questions. And now how we get our questions is you post your questions on the video from last week, or you did post your questions on the video for last week, and then I literally printed the questions, and I'm now going to answer them to the best of my ability. Okay? All right, so if you have a question now, you will post it on this video, because I will no longer be doing questions on that video, because this is this week's video, and the questions from this week's video will be answered next week. Okay, so, and Julie says, I like the new series. Does HPOP soap also cure in 3 to 5 days? And that answer is yes, if it is done appropriately. Okay, if it's been cooked the right amount of time. But the same goes for all hot processed soap or cooked soap. When you cut it, depending on your weather, if it's really hot outside and really dry, it's going to cure faster, even if you have air conditioning in your home. If it is raining every freaking day, it is going to take longer to cure predominantly. If you live in an arid climate, it's going to cure faster. If you live in an extremely damp environment, it's going to cure a little slower. If you are, your elevation will make a difference as well. And if you stick too much liquid additives, such as too much essential oil, too much fragrance, too many liquidy items, in the end, it is going to slow things down and possibly make your soap not curable. Okay? All right, Kim, I want to make rosemary shampoo bars. And she don't want to make liquid soap. She wants to make shampoo bars. And don't want to make cold process. How do you use rosemary essential oil, or can it be used in hot processed soap because it has such a low flash point of around 100? And I use rosemary essential oil all the time in hot processed soap. And I found that the only essential oil so far that I have been unsuccessful in using is the grapefruit. Grapefruit has like a 25 or a 35 flash point. Give it up. You can't even do much with it with cold processed soap either. So with your rosemary, I have found that if you will reduce your oils to 160, it will be successful. You may have to add a little bit more. And one, when you smell rosemary, it doesn't have a knock you in the face smell. It's not strong like cinnamon and peppermint and lemongrass and geranium. It is a weak smell, similar to lavender. So I always find that I have to put more rosemary in a soap to get a good smell than I do like the strong ones. And so you will have to judge that. Now, how I judge with essential oils is I put in what I think I want to do, and I go, and if it smells like, oh my God, I've put too much in, it's about right. Because it's hot now. The essential oils are hot and just radiating scent. But once it cures and it's cut and it cures and it becomes room temperature, then it will be weaker than what it is when it's very hot. I have found that 160 degrees and not 161 or 2, because one time I put it in at 162 and the flash off just started hitting my nose. I knew I'd screwed up. I was in a hurry and I thought, oh, it's just 2 points. Don't do it. 160, 159. And I always use the plain Jane candy thermometers that are all metal with just a little circle about the size of a quarter with a plastic or glass top that has a little dial on it. And you can't just put it in there and wait and see what it says and say you're done. You have to swirl it. Matter of fact, I teach this all the time. I'll say, tell me what temperature this soap is. And they'll put that thermometer in and they'll come back and they'll go, oh, it's 159. And I'll go, hang on a second. I'll pick that thermometer up and go, shh, swish it around, sit it there. Oh, it's 185. And that's what happens. I do not know why. I have no idea. I just know it's so. So make sure that you've swished it around really, really good and you don't have the metal part sitting on the crock bottom. Okay. And so, but with a rosemary shampoo bar, tea tree makes a harder hair shaft, so less likely to break, and it makes a shiny, healthy looking hair shaft. So I would recommend that you put tea tree and rosemary in your shampoo bar. And with tea tree, with one of my single batches, the maximum you can add is 2 tablespoons. So if you go to www.kimberlymagnut.com and go to my free recipes link, you can see the sizes of my single batch and my double batch. But for a single batch, and you can use all those recipes, they're free, that is 2 tablespoons. That's your max amount you can add to soap, okay? And on the rosemary, you could probably add 6 tablespoons and love it. But if you don't want to add that much, I'd put at least 4, okay? And lemongrass is a natural skin toner, so it makes your hair really shiny. So I reckon, and people love the smell of lemongrass. So like if you throw a tablespoon of lemongrass in there to 4 tablespoons of rosemary, I bet people would be happy. I bet they would be happy with 2 tablespoons to 6 tablespoons of rosemary in a single batch. But rosemary, you have to put more of it than others to get the scent, and also you want it to help, and rosemary does help the scalp and the hair, so put enough in there to do the job. All right, not just enough to smell good. Okay, let me find where I'm at. Okay, okay, great idea. Seashore Canada says, all you do, love all that you do, but I don't think I can ask just one question. Here's this week's list. Where can I find alkanet powder locally? I live in Canada, largest city. Surely it's here somewhere. And how much should I expect to pay for it? Importing is too expensive with the duties, and they just keep doubling it up, plus the shipping and blah blah blah. Okay, so let's first deal with that. I didn't actually see that little what is ricing. I don't deal with ricing because I do hot processed soap, and I have heard that it was something to do with air contact. And I didn't look that up ahead of time because I didn't see that. She says, what is ricing, and what does it look like? Can it be saved, and how? And I've heard of seizing in cold processed soap. And I know that cold processed soap can mold, and one of the ways to prevent that is to keep it from being in a hot environment and then a cold environment, hot environment and then a cold environment, such as a laundry room, because you put your clothes in there, the air in the room gets moist. Then you put your clothes in the dryer, and then the air in the room gets hot. So you don't want to put your soap in that kind of environment. You want to keep it in a cool room temperature environment if possible. Ricing, gosh, I don't know what that is. I've never had it happen. I've had my soap get those little white spots, and those little white spots is from air contact, getting too much air contact. And I've had that happen, and I sell it anyway. My soap is rustic and natural, and I've never had one complaint about those little bitty white spots. It is not mold, though. It is not mold. That gets thrown away. So I'm sorry that I have not been completely prepared for that particular portion of your question. If I did not help you enough, add it to this video and I will look it up. Okay, so on the Canada thing, this one's easy, okay? I've done this all the time. I have people all the time send me a message. I live in, Ukraine. Where do I get so-and-so? And I have found this to be a very easy thing. It's Google. Google is awesome. So what you do is you put the thing you want buy, B-U-Y, the thing you want to buy, and then you put like in, I-N, that kind of in Canada, okay? Well, hello there, new phone. And then you will get some non-Canada responses, especially in advertised ads at the top, but you will get some that are in Canada. Now, You might get one or two that is advertising that they will ship to Canada, but you can look and they will, you know, like there'll be the name of that website, the website address, and then a description, and the words that matches your search will be up there in the top, that's up there in your search will be in blue or highlighted. And so I found listings that gave that they were in a Canadian address and they were selling in Canadian dollars when I went to the website. And one of them was even on Amazon. And so what that was is it was an Amazon seller that also lived in Canada, and it said that it would be shipped from Canada and they were selling it in Canadian dollars. So one of these is even Amazon. So I'm gonna hold this up for you to view, and hopefully you can freeze the video, pause it, and be able to get that. But that's the actual pages that came up. But you can probably go to just the first part of that link, the website address, and then search for Alkanet Root. And because you're in Canada, I do not know what is a fair price for it to sell for. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna pull back just a little bit in case that was too close. And this is your addresses to those links. Okay? All right. Ta-da! Okay. All right. This was a fun one. I loved this one. What do you do with the leftover pieces of soap that are too small to use? In other words, you took a bath with a bar. It's not your scraps from your soaping, but literally scraps from your bar that you've been using in the shower. So what do you do with the leftover pieces of soap that are too small to use? In particular, I am referring to your oily skin soap, which I just love, 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 love. I tried making the leftovers into liquid soap so I could use as a shampoo, but that did not work. At first it was snotty and then it congealed. Okay, on this one, I think that you should add water. If you still have this concoction, add water and reheat it. And because I think for it to be snotty and then in a congealed state, you did not add enough water to this recipe, to it. So you might still save that or try this again. But what I do is, okay, I've got this little slither that was left over, and I set it aside and I get my new bar and I bath with it. And while this bar is all wet and just been used, I take that little slither and I lay it on top and sort of press it down. And then I set, always my soaps come out of the shower and are laid on a dry washcloth. And that washcloth goes and sucks all the water out of the bar, and so the bars last me ages longer than a bar that stays in the shower. So outside the shower I have this washcloth. Then that piece of soap that, and I wet it too, that little slither, and smash it down on top of that one. It adheres to that big bar and it just becomes a part of the big bar. Now another thing I do, and I do this with my scraps of soap when I've made soap and all your little trimmings, is I buy a little disposable bag. These are I'm so bad with this crap. No. It's this thing. It's this little bag, and you can get them on websites. And this one here is actually a touch small. I usually buy one that's the length of my hand for this purpose. But we use these to sell the rocks that we have here for sale, the precious stones, and so these were a little smaller. And then you just open it up and put all your little pieces in there and then pull it, and it feels so good when you wash with it because of the texture of that. And then if you can't get these or can't get these affordably, and you could probably go to a craft store or gift store and buy some homemade jewelry, and many times they come in these little things and kill two birds with one stone. But this is a washable tea bag, and I also use these, and they feel even more awesome to rub against your skin. And you just put your extra bars of soap in there and pull it up, and ta-da, you have a wash bag. So that's what I do with my extra trimmings of my soap. All right. I've read some books and I'm excited to start making hot process soap. I want to start with your grandmother's lye soap recipe, as it sounds more basic for a newcomer. However, I need soap that won't strip my skin. Do I add superfats at the end? If so, how much? Or is the 1 tablespoon glycerin enough? Thank you for your guidance. I look forward to making soap for my family to use. All right. So my recipe for the Grandma's Old Fashioned lard soap, it is super fatted with lard. Okay, because people don't add anything to Grandma's Old Fashioned soap. So when I'm doing the recipe, what is this? I'm going again. Yeah, y'all last time too? Yeah. So anyway, so it has, I think it's on an 8% superfat level. It might be a 10, it's an 8 or a 10% superfat level. So that means that the lard that is put in the crock pot, that there is enough lye in the recipe when you mix it into the water to turn all of that lard into soap except for 8 or 10%. Now lard is very moisturizing for the skin and it's a great bar of soap. It doesn't lather a lot because lard does not have a lot of lathering skills. So when you wash with it, it's just creamy on your skin. You don't get much bubble. So, but it's a great just getting started soap. Now, if you wanted to make it, and since, what is it about this show and me yawning? Anyway, so if you wanted to make it more moisturizing and you wanted to add something to it, I would add an ounce of olive oil or an ounce of shea butter or half an ounce of each. On that, because you've already got a certain superfat level in the soap. Now, if you wanted to go to the Soap Cow online, I think it's soapcow.net, and you wanted to put the recipe in there exactly how it is, but change the superfats to 0 instead of 8 to 10, which is what I have it on, and hit calculate, then you would have a 0% superfat recipe. So all the lye water that's in there would be enough to turn all of that lard into soap. And so you would not have any superfats in that soap. That would make a great laundry soap, okay? But then you could come in and put 8 to 10% of coconut, olive oil, and shea butter, just like in my other recipes, and some glycerin and vitamin E in at the end, and have a more moisturizing soap. It will not change the bubble content. Lard soap does not bubble. Now, if you want a soap that's bubbly and creamy and moisturizing and all that stuff, then you want Kim's favorite recipe. And I think it's at 8%. And if you wanted to increase that to a 10% superfat, it would be even more moisturizing. And you could do that by just adding a little bit of product. And I don't know how to figure that in my head right now, but basically you would increase the coconut and the olive oil and the shea butter by maybe 10 to 20%. All right, so there you go. All right, so what do you find to be the best way to get your items to sell? Like any tips for selling online or in stores? Okay, so to sell online, Etsy is a really great website to go to. You can open up an Etsy store. It costs you very little, and you can send people through a Facebook page to your Etsy channel, a page or website. So what you would do is you would open up a Facebook page in your business name, and then it gives you the option to put a Shop Now button at the top, right under the big picture. You can put a Shop Now, okay? And then when you link that to your Etsy page or another website that you have, whether it be a website you create, You can create a website usually to start out for about $10 a month on homestead.com. I like GoDaddy, but GoDaddy does not have as good of a building website program. You cannot get as pretty and nice of a website as you can out of Homestead. I have used yahoo.com before. It's been years though, but they had a good building program that's very easy. Both of those companies have simple building programs, you know, drag, drop, wiggle it around, and hit save. And so if you open up a business page on Facebook, then you can ask people to like your page that's your friends and whatnot. You can post that page on local buy, sell, and trade pages. Buy, sell, and trade pages are awesome. People sometimes come on our Essential Soap questions and answers page and they will think that they're going to sell their soap, but the audience to that page is soapers. We already have soap. So, but if you go to, I live in DeKalb County, so I go to DeKalb County buy, sell, and trade page. There's 2 or 3 of those. And then I live in the city of Mentone, but my store is in Fort Payne. So I searched for Fort Payne buy, sell, and trade. And usually you just put the name of the city and the word buy, sell, and they start popping up for you. Then there's Rainsville, and there's Fife, and there's Dogtown. And so there's like 10 or 20 pages in this area where people are selling stuff. And so you can post links to your Facebook page, and then when they hit the Facebook page, they can hit the Shop Now button, and you can put all kinds of posts on there about your soaps, product. You know, like when you have a new batch of soap, post it and tell what's great about it, and then put it on your Ipsy page. And you can also you can do Craigslist ads for your local city and put your Facebook page or your Ipsy page link on there. You can there's some buy, sell, and trade swapper like books that have online that are online in some people's areas. That's a good avenue. And then of course the best avenue sometimes is a YouTube video. Doing a cut video and showing the soap and telling why it's so awesome and posting it on Facebook and putting a new video on every week and building a YouTube channel of shoppers, because people go to YouTube to see where's the best people that's making soap to buy from. So that's another really great way to push people to your sites. And then another really great source to start out is a farmer's market, because a farmer's market is a place where everything's not supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to be homemade and local. And so if your soap's is not spotlessly perfect, nobody's going to give you a hard time about it, because it's what you made in your kitchen and you're selling it, like your homemade jams and and stuff like that. So that's a great place to start. And I hope that helps. Okay. And a colorful label. This is my business card. I put it in the front of all my soaps, and it's very colorful. And then I put a paper label on the back that tells about the soap and stuff, and has my the ingredients and like my business information, contact numbers all here, but the ingredients and the name of the bar and its weight and everything is here, and my customer service phone number. And that's a paper label. So, and then I put them in these little baggies and put a bread tile on them. I poke holes in them. So this is great for when you're selling it yourself. It's a cheap way to package. But when you're going to go to a store and sell it, you've got to make a better label. And I have had quite a few people tell me that you can make your graphic at home for your label, and then you can take it to the UPS store or the FedEx store or printing stores similar to that in your area, and they have a charge rate for color sheets of stickers like that, label stickers. It's just so much for if it's black and white, and so much if it's color. The whole darn thing can have color. I mean, no white on it at all. It's still the same price. And so they'll go down and take their label and say, I need 3 pages, or I need 20 pages, or I need 10 pages of this label. And they'll have a business label that's all shiny and colorful and fairly cheap that they just stick on the front, and then still go with the paper label in the back. Or do another sticker label with your ingredients for the back. And they say it's very economical and very affordable, and they love it. The key is not to buy too many labels for a soap at one time, because you're a soaper. You love to play, you love to create, you love to change. So you are going to change the ingredients of that soap. So if you make too many labels, you're going to end up with labels on the shelf that you cannot use because you changed your ingredients. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we got here. I haven't made any soap yet. Just waiting for a couple of things to get here. I'll be making the hot process soap. I want to make sort of a medicated skin care bar, a medicated skin care soap for woodsy camping hunting people, antibacterial and whatnot. I'm thinking of essential oils like tea tree oil, calendula. Calendula doesn't come in an essential oil. It is a oil. To the best of my knowledge, it's a carrier oil. Sandalwood is like $5,000 for 16 ounces, so you can't afford it. Patchouli is expensive, but you could afford it. Lavender is very reasonable. You can do that one. And of course, putting vitamin E in it is great. For a woodsy antibacterial for hunters and camping, caving, I do a pine tar soap. And there is how to make pine tar soap with recipe videos on YouTube that I have put out that you can watch. I like to put tea tree and pine essential oil. Pine wards away bugs and stuff and has a very woodsy smell, and it also it makes the hunters smell like the woods. And then tea tree, because tea tree helps to also ward, but if you lather up with it and leave the foam on your skin for 5 minutes, where the foam touches a critter such as a deer tick, it will kill it. So that's a great soap. Now another one is for camping, hiking, is citronella and tea tree, and you can add the pine tar or not, but citronella, bugs don't like it. Bugs do not like it. And then another one is tea tree and cedarwood. Tea tree and cedarwood, with or without pine tar, is great for your camping, hunting, the whole 9 yards, because it makes them smell like a cedarwood tree, so that's good for your hunters. The reason I do the pine tar is because pine tar just makes your skin smell good, plus it makes the hunters smell even more like the woods. And it's really great for a lot of skin irritations. And when you get out camping, hunting, and whatnot, you get all cut up by briars, and you scratch yourself, and you bleed, and you get irritated, and get infections, and you get bug bites, and they get infected. So, your tea tree and your pine tar really helps with that. Citronella, I don't mix. If I'm going to do a bug soap, it's going to have citronella in it and tea tree, or it's going to have cedarwood and tea tree. Because bugs don't like the smell of those. But when you mix the two of them together, do they still not like it? I don't know. You made it smell different now. So cedarwood and citronella don't just smell like cedarwood does and citronella. When they made those cedar chests, they didn't do cedar chests mixed with rosewood. They put all cedar on the inside, and they put other woods on the outside, but on the inside they put all cedar, because that's what the bugs don't like. And when you buy citronella products, you don't mix it with some fragrance oil that smells like roses to make it smell better, because then it don't smell like citronella, and the bugs might not like it. They might like it, or just not care about whether they like it or not. So I don't mix. Some people will come up with these concoctions. They put eucalyptus and peppermint and lavender and citronella and cedar, and they stick it all together and mix it up. I just don't think it's as effective as cedarwood and tea tree or citronella and tea tree. Okay, I hope that helped you. Okay, This is a fantastic idea. Thank you for your answer. Next question. What oils would be good for a medium hard bar? Note, if you don't want to use citric acid, and I think she meant to write stearic acid. I never heard of adding citric acid to soap. My favorite for a good medium-sized hard bar is coconut oil, lard, and soybean. And I have a recipe, Kim's favorite recipe, on that www.kimberlymcnut.com. That's KIMBERLYMCNUTT.com. That is really a great recipe to use, but there's some of them in there that also has palm oil in it, and coconut oil and soybean oil. The palm oil, when you finish with it, it causes the soap to not quite be as fluid, so you can't do as pretty of things with the top of it. And you have to be really careful not to let it get too cool. 160, put the essential oils in, get that stuff in the mold. And I don't like medium hard bars. I like hard bars because, you know, they last in the shower longer. But if you want, I mean, my bars, it'll be like 50 something if you run it through the soap cow, but at a 0% super fat. But then when you dump in the essential oil, I mean the super fats, that lowers it. So I would call it a medium to hard bar. But I would use Kim's favorite recipe or the palm oil one that's on there for the vegan recipe. For a good starter recipe, it's proven. Probably 1 million people's made soap with that recipe and loved it. I've never got a complaint. All I've got's raves. So I would say that right there. And I have those listed with stearic acid and without stearic acid. And the stearic acid just makes the bar harder. So pick one where, you know, pick the one without the stearic acid, and it'll be more on the medium side for you. All right, let's see. Okay, so she says that she's working a lot with wax melts, and she must be, and she's working with soy wax, and she wants to know how to clean the bowls afterwards. Okay, well now when I've used soy wax and even paraffin wax, if I put hot water with Dawn dish detergent and even a little bit of bleach sometimes in my water, and have a good scrubby thing, I've not had any problems getting the wax off. And you can even set things out too with paraffin and just peel off, and I think soy wax will come off like that too. You can just peel it off in sheets. But if you're having problems with that, like when I work with beeswax that comes from the farmer, the actual bee farmer like me, okay, they can be really, really hard, and I've had to throw things away. You just ain't getting it off. And so what I do is I put my oven on 250 and get it hot. And I only use stainless steel stuff. Anything that's plastic, then get it to where you're going to be throwing it away, because you ain't getting that stuff off of it. All right, and then I turn the oven off, lay paper towels down on the rack, and I turn my stainless steel pots and pans upside down. And the stainless steel spoons, I just lay them and things like that in there, and then close the door, and the oven's off. And the wax will just slowly drip off onto the paper towel. Then I'll come in and take those paper towels out if need be, and get the oven hot again, and then put paper towels back down, because you can't leave them in there when you're getting the oven hot, catch on fire. And put paper towels back down, and then turn everything the other direction, and the wax just drips off, and it will come off to the point that you can then put it in the sink and wash it off. So that's the only other method I know. All right. Hello. Would like to make a skin tightening soap, lightening soap with kojic acid. Okay. This is something I'm going to have to do research on. I have not heard of it, and I did not have time before this video, but I wanted you to know that I was thinking about you. I didn't overlook you. And if anybody already knows acid is, being a natural soaper, I use very few ingredients like this, okay? And like stearic acid is natural, and I use it, and this may be a natural product that I've just not heard of. And it says, what is the best way to go about making a soap like that? I found only one recipe, but it is for melt and pour. And is the melt and pour method the only way to make such a soap? Please reply. Now, I don't know what KOJIC is, but if it has been put in melt and pour soap, then I would make a soap that had a super fat, because I'm going to assume that it is a powder or a liquid, okay? And, or like an oil, not like a water-based product, okay? So I would then add it to my super fats if it's a powder, because when I have, now if it's like ground oats, it's, you know, chunks, you can just dump it in and stir it up. But when I add a powder and like 1/4 of a cup to a 1/2 a cup to a single batch recipe, again, you can find the oil based sizes for a single batch at KimberlyMacNutt.com. So for a single batch on ingredients, I go from 1/4 of a cup to a 1/2 a cup if it's something that's going to make the soap good, you know, healthy for you. If it's just for colorant, 1 or 2 tablespoons, okay? And you can add it to the super fats, melt your super fats gently and add it and mix it in with a little whisk and get it completely moistened and blended. And then when you put it in the soap, you don't get these little powder pockets where it didn't blend into the soap. And now that is a way that you can add it to hot processed soap. On cold processed soap, I don't make cold processed soap, so I'm not sure. But on hot processed soap, if it is a powder, you can add it to the super fats. All right. And if anybody else knows about that, if you could post answers on her question on last week's video, and then I'm going to try to do the research and find out what that is. Okay. All right. She says, thank you, Miss Kim. I made first 2 batches of soap 2 weeks ago. 1 CP or cold process using an Essential Depot kit, and 1 hot process from scratch, in which I had to really heavily on you. I had to rely heavily on your videos. Thank you. My question is, in doing hot processed soap, what is the risk and danger of not cooking my soap long enough? I am concerned that since I am new, I may not cook the soap long enough because I am not experienced at recognizing and getting the Vaseline phase. I have watched your videos, but still not 100% confident. Okay, when you put your spoon in and you stir it, and the soap goes pop, 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 and it looks very mashed potato-y, it's not done. And eventually it gets very Vaseline-y looking, very shiny and glossy, and when you stir it, you don't get so much popping. You might still get just a little bit, but you're getting, it's very Vaseline-y. It comes out of a mashed potato look, and it goes more into a very fluid, Vaseline-y, shiny look. That means it's done. Now, if you undercook it while it's in other words, if you mold it when it's in the mashed potato phase, it's just going to take longer to cure because you're somewhere in the middle of hot process and cold process. There's still too much water in the soap. All right, but when you put your lye water and your oils together in a crock pot, it's going to start cooking and it's going to turn to a solid gel state, or it's going to come to a very heavy custard. Okay, because I don't sit and come to trace. I don't need to come to trace. I'm cooking this stuff, so we just dump it together, blend it until it's blended well, and then we turn it on low and start cooking it. All right, and it's either going to get to a hard, like you can stick a fork in it and it stands straight up, or it's going to be very, very, very pudding custard looking. That is gel phase. The lye is still active in gel phase. If you use soap that you only brought to gel, it will burn you. You must let it cook thoroughly and get all bubbly and soap and look like the soap or look like that mashed potato phase. Once it gets into that stage, the lye is dead. Okay? All right, and there's also videos on my YouTube channel within the last 20 to 30 videos if you go to my channel where I actually do is it done videos, I think, you know, and I've done 2-3 videos, just little short clips, so you can look at that. Okay, I'm a beginner and tried looking up what does applesauce texture mean. Okay, when you're doing milk soap, commonly it will separate and look like oats, cooked oats, and when you see it, you'll know it. Instead of being very fluid, either mashed potato-y or Vaseline-y, it'll almost look like there's little chunks of oats in there, you know, and it's cooked. And I call it the oatmeal phase. And what I do is I take my stick blender and I go down and up, 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 down and up. It's not this, you don't go around and around, you don't do this, it's just a single like this. Then turn your crop, do it like this. You're going, and it's at an angle, down and around. So it's like down and back, down and back, down and back, down and back. And that soap will just start blending back together and become soap again. But it's common when you add certain additives that have a high sugar content, it causes the soap to separate and be what I called, and other people may do as well, the oatmeal phase. All right. Okay, what is your thoughts on fluid hot process soap or fluid hot press soap? Because of the fact that Philip was here this week, I tried to do some research on that, and it looked as if that it was that new hot lye method where you keep your lye water really hot and your oils really hot, and you mix them together, and the lye water being hot and the oils being hot, it cooks in the bowl, and I think she adds yogurt to it. I thought that was pretty dangerous when that method came out. I think it's just a wonderful idea. And I think for a mature soaper, in other words, somebody that's been soaping for a long time, that's used to the dangers of lye, hot lye, and working with soap that might volcano, I think it's just an awesome way to make soap. But for your beginner, it scares me, because if you don't get everything just right, putting really hot lye water and hot oils in a bowl, and it can just start spitting and volcanoing everywhere, and people get hurt, including children and pets, much less the soaper. But I think the bars are gorgeous. So I think that she's talking about the hot lye method. But as I said, Philip was surprise visiting me this week, and so I was not able to do as much research on that. I looked up several videos and I tried to watch them, but they were really long, and the people that were doing them were talking a lot and not going quick enough for the amount of time that I had to watch the video. So I tried skipping through the videos and trying to get a gist of it, making sure that that's what it was, but I couldn't. But I looked at the bars, and the bars looked just like that hot lye method. So maybe this is a new word, a new name for it from when it first came out. Fluid hot press soaping. So, but I will try, and I should put a circle on that, to look this up and do a better description if that's not what it is. But to me, it's basically you're putting two volatile things together in a hot stage that you're not supposed to do, and you're not supposed to put them that way together that hot because of the possibility of it blowing up on your face. And so I worry about brand new soapers and inexperienced soapers doing that method. but I think it's awesome. I think it's an ingenious idea, and I think more power to you. I think that particular method is going to rival cold processed soap and hot processed soap. And I think one day we're going to have hot processed, cold processed, what is that, COHP or whatever soap, and hot lye method soap, or if the name has changed to liquid press soap. Okay, I think it's going places. All right. Now, I had one person, instead of posting her questions on the video, she sent me a text message or a Facebook message. And then I changed phones because Philip bought me a phone. I have looked through this phone. I have the Cornerstone Market, Essential Soap. I have Kimberly Phillips Magnet page, and I have Essential Soap. No, that's the B page. I have 3 business pages on Facebook. I have looked through the messages on there. I have looked through my personal messages on Facebook. I cannot find your question. You had several questions that you sent me in a message. I've looked on the text messages here. But here I had a big trouble because this is a Verizon Wireless phone, and Verizon Wireless was really giving me a hard time because I was a Page Plus customer. So a lot of the apps was like coming up with errors and stuff like that because I didn't actually have my Verizon account, because I'm not a Verizon customer, I'm a Page Plus customer. And so I had to delete some of those programs. So there's a possibility that your message got deleted with those Verizon Wireless programs and I had to download other programs to manage my text messaging and voicemail and stuff like that. It's like, even though I'm a Page Plus customer, I couldn't just hit voicemail and it call my voicemail, which I could on every phone I've ever had. But not on this one. On this one, it was like, I'm sorry, we tried to verify you, but you don't have a Verizon Wireless account. So I couldn't call my voicemail, and I'm not too good at listening to that stuff anyway. So we had to do some work on there. So it could be that I just lost it. And if I did, I'm sorry. Try posting it again on this video. Now, eventually the questions are going to get to be to the point that I might not be able to answer every one of them and not end up with a 5-hour video. So eventually we will have to get to the point that I'll just pick 5 questions. So then if your question don't get answered, throw it on that video for the next week and I'll see if I can't add it. But I have tried today to answer all of them, even if I didn't answer my best on some of them. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. You can go to www.kimberlymatnut.com if you would like to see to go get my free recipes and watch some of my videos that's posted there. They're sort of categorized to help you find them. Like if you want pine tar soap, you can look, oh, there's pine tar store, and click on it, and then my videos about pine tar are right there. And then if you would like to buy some of my soap, you know I'm always selling my soap, you can go to www.essential-soaps, plural, SOAPS.com. I am working on remodeling that webpage. So pretty soon, within the next few days, hopefully it will change. But I've not completely finished doing everything yet. So I'm working on it. So pretty soon it's going to change. Right now it's a little crowded and people on phones are having trouble with it. So I'm having to decrowd the little booger. So I'm working on it. All right. Oh, and hit the like button. Do it now. Okay. And please subscribe. Okay. All right. Now. Because I need subscribers. And I need likes to keep these videos out there where people see them and they can get help too. Alright? And thank you for using my Essential Depot link, which you can find at thekimberlymatnut.com. It really helps me out because I got off work at 7 o'clock. Here at the store it closed. And it is 8:48 at night. I will not get home till 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And I'm spending these hours after work when I can be home doing anything I want to researching and answering your questions and uploading this video for you. So it's just your way of saying thank you, and it don't actually cost you anything. So if you're going to buy from Essential Depot, I appreciate you using my affiliate link. And you can be an affiliate too. You can go onto their website and fill out the affiliate form and become an affiliate. And when you do, you just put your link out there on Facebook or your web pages and stuff like that, and do videos, and you can post them. By the way, YouTube called me and they said it was perfectly fine to put my affiliate link on my YouTube videos, that it was not against the rules. So if you've wondered that, there's your answer. And I just about put him on the stake. I said, are you sure? I said, I've had people call and holler and fuss at me because they said it was illegal to put affiliate links on a YouTube video. And that is YouTube rules and regulations. And he said, absolutely not. It's perfectly okay. I said, are you sure? And he said yes. So that's the answer that I got from my personal coach that I get to keep for a whole month and a half. And I've only talked to once. And I think 2 weeks has went by. I got to call that man again and get my month's worth out of him. All right. Bye, everybody.